Hi, Tim.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a long time.
Yeah. How's the family?
So far, so good.
Everybody's made it through so far. How are the
Yeah. What's that?
how are the boys?
Well, I got girls, actually.
Oh no, I meant the other boys. The other
Oh,
family.
yeah, they're boys. Yeah, yeah. My real children. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, everyone's good. Like we talk like once a week usually, especially with the record and everything. We had a lot coming up, so we were all kind of on some calls here and there, and everyone's kind of itching to play, and doing what they can do.
Well, I've been following all these clues that you guys have been dropping. I feel like Nancy Drew trying to figure out
Right.
what's going on. Thank you so much. We finally have a new Rise Against song, Nowhere Generation. Just every time you guys put out new music, I think to myself, how did they know that we needed new Rise Against now?
It's funny too, because when you write songs, especially with the way you end up recording them, and then they come out at a certain time, and especially this year, unlike any other year we ever had before, these songs become almost like time capsules, like because you wrote them at a certain time, and then you wonder if they're still going to make sense when they come out. And sometimes they don't, and then sometimes that moment has passed, and then sometimes things line up really, I guess, depending on how you look at it, tragically or very conveniently, and they all start to like make sense. And so yeah, this is one of those songs where I was wondering what our world was going to look like when it was released, and it really is kind of I'm looking at it in a whole different way. So I think I'm really excited that it's finally out there.
So, what are the beginnings of Nowhere Generation? Where were you? How long ago was it when you had the impetus to the song?
I guess the ideas really came from our fans, our audience, the people at our shows and the people that I was interacting with and getting to know them and like their struggles and anxieties about their future. I think like in like the generation that I grew up in, it was like if it feels like you're fighting to swim upstream and something is kind of holding you back, like I think our parents all kind of told us like, well, you just fight harder. That's what you do. That you just got to suck it up and you got to work harder, and that's how you're going to get to the goalpost, right? And there was something about the younger generation, a lot of people listen to our band, that I feel like when they said that felt like they were swimming upstream, this felt different. This felt like there were new and improved obstacles, in their way. There was things like the decay of the middle class, there was concentrated wealth, the rise of the 1%, there was climate change, all these different things that I think few generations have ever dealt with before. And so their swim upstream was unique. And I wanted to write about it because I felt like there was a lot of validity to their complaints. They weren't just, this wasn't just kids saying, I don't want to work hard, or like, I'm afraid of the world. It was more like they had real reason to believe that their hard work was not going to be rewarded because the system has been set up in a way that the game had been kind of rigged. And they had real reason to not really believe in a lot of the institutions that support us, because those institutions were kind of focused on the short term, not necessarily like the long term and the future. If that all makes any sense.
Absolutely. And I mean, you've always been an activist, a proponent to move people, to get them active. What do you think is a good piece of advice for that frustrated younger generation right now that want to do something, but they're so frustrated and they don't know what to do?
I guess number one, don't take advice from the previous generation. Or if you have been, stop doing it. We are in uncharted territory. You know what I mean? Like we really are blazing a trail, and there's not a lot of experience from the past that applies to this. And the more previous generations try to apply their experience to the younger generation experience, the more it gets all kind of distorted and screwed up. Like we're looking at new problems, they need new solutions. And so I think that's my advice, is that the path that you're going to carve is going to be a unique path, and maybe not one that you've seen in history. It's going to require a shift of thinking, not, it can't be this like thinking of like short-term profit shareholder capitalism. And it's got to be a little bit more like, how do we plant seeds for the future instead of just ripping the crops out right now?
Yeah. And listen to the new Rise Against.
And listen to the new Rise Against. Yeah.
So what was it like for you creating and recording in quarantine?
For us, creating, at least for me, like creating is a very isolated kind of process anyway, like I spend so much of my time on the road, and touring and interacting with people. And like, I think like at heart, I'm really kind of an introvert. And so all that's really exhausting, And so when I come home, like I'm so happy just to be home. I'm kind of a homebody, and I'm a little bit more of a hermit and a little bit more isolated. And then that's when I create. And so that didn't look that much different, in terms of just like, well, we like to get away from distractions and bunker down and just kind of do music. And so in that sense, it was an easier place to do that.
And I'm assuming you did not go back to Nashville again like you did for Wolves. Did you head back to home base in California or Colorado?
In Colorado, yeah, we did go back to home base. You're right. Okay. Yes. Yeah, we went back to our Fort Collins, Colorado family, the Blasting Room, Bill Stevenson, Jason Livermore, along with Andrew Berlin and Chris Beeble. Yes, we decided that, well before we started making the record, and it made us look forward to like doing it again with those guys, and like they looked forward to it, because they knew we were coming. And Joe and I started flying out there in like 2019 and just putting ideas together, and it's what it's supposed to be. It's just a good time and people that really care, and that studio cares like as much about Rise Against, if not more on some days than we do. So it's just pure good vibes out there.
Well, Bill's the unofficial fifth member, your musical soulmate.
Yeah, he's like our guru. He's a mentor. He's all those things, and he's also he's like the Rise Against whisperer, he's like the one person that can communicate with all four of us, and just kind of like really get there's few, I don't think there's anybody else on the planet that can do that. Like when Bill talks, we all shut up and listen.
Wow, that is some kind of power.
Yeah, it's like Crocodile Dundee and like the animal. That's what he does to us.
So were your daughters involved with this song, with this album?
No, not with the album. I don't know. Like my youngest is actually very musical, but she does a lot of classical type stuff. So my world is like this really sloppy, untrained world to her. And her world is a very refined, like note for note world that fascinates me, by the way. When I watch her play a violin, it's like math rock, and so no, they were not involved with this. Their involvement, if there is any, is usually a really hard eye roll, I would say.
That means you're doing something right, I think.
I hope so.
All right, so talk me through some of the symbolism that you guys have been putting out there, because I and a bunch of people on Twitter,
Right,
like I said, it was like a scavenger hunt with clips of hamsters on a wheel and ants and burning ladders and zeros. And how does that all kind of tie together with Nowhere Generation?
So there's a lot of that when we started talking about Nowhere Generation, the sort of the concepts behind it. We were working with an artist named Brian Rodinger, who did the album artwork and our video, and really kind of supervised the whole look over it. And he just wanted to hear about what the songs were about. And a lot of it was what I was just kind of describing to you, just about the rat race, about that kind of that 9-to-5 work world where you're not sure if you're actually getting ahead or if you're just on a treadmill, And then the idea is like, is there still upward mobility? Do we still have chances to succeed and to do better than our parents did? And or has like that ladder from here to there been burned away, you know? And so that's a lot where the ladder imagery comes from, also from lyrics of the song. The ants, you know, they're just like representing like that rat race, you know, like those like the worker ants that we are, that we just kind of, we do what we put our heads down and we do what we need to do to accomplish what we need to accomplish. And so a lot of that imagery kind of came out in our conversations, and we wanted to sort of tease that a little bit as we prep people for the record.
Get their bodies ready.
Yes, exactly. And then I always love to hear people's sort of speculations or their theories, you know what I mean? Because sometimes they touch on things that we didn't think about that totally makes sense. Like, oh yeah, like I didn't even think about that. Like, yes, the songs are these living organisms in that way, you know, like they're what they mean to you is just as important as what they mean to us.
Well, I've definitely been trying to figure out what it is that I bought at Rise Against Us. A bunch of other people, we weren't sure if it was an ant farm or some kind of ladder that might arrive on fire or not.
Right. Yeah, that stuff's above my pay grade. That's like that's like, well, somebody's trying to figure out what's the best way to get this thing out there. So I don't know if have you received it yet? Or
Not yet. I mean, it just happened. So.
Oh, okay. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag then. So, but you know, it's really surprising was that I remember someone told me the idea, and people will find out, but they were like, what if we put something up for sale and we didn't explain to anybody what it is? Like allowed them to buy it, but never promised them anything or told them what it was. Would anybody really buy it? And it sold out in like 2 minutes.
I know. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really kind of, I mean, I think it's a testament to, I think, like, a lot of things, but I would like to think it's a testament to people trust us. They have faith in what we do. I mean, I don't think we've steered anybody wrong yet. And so that was kind of humbling to see, like, wow, that's cool that you guys did this. Like, you trust that, like, what you're going to get is going to be something cool and that we care about it.
Yeah. Well, Rise Against fans are the best.
They are.
I know we've all been itching to see you guys live. And I don't know if you know, but Wrigley just announced their first batch of 2021 shows. So have you guys been talking about tour or anything?
Yeah. So we are normally our talking about tour for the last 12 months has been maybe next month. Maybe next month. Maybe not. I mean, it's been the same. I'm watching the same news you're watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I will say that I just got off the first phone call with our booking agent that sounded positive in like 12 months. So there are positive things. There are Chicago things. There are things that we are definitely talking about. We're gonna plan for the best and then prepare for the worst. You know, we're going to when the lights go back on, we want to be right there and playing shows and hanging out with our fans. So, like, trust us when we say that we are working diligently to make that happen.
We cannot wait.
Us too.
Nowhere Generation is here now, the title track to the album that will be here on June 4th. Tim, it is always a pleasure. Can't wait to see you guys.
Yep, the pleasure's mine. Thank you to WKQX and all that you do to support our band. I hear it on the radio here in Chicago. You guys have always shown us so much love. You connect us to our fan base here and vice versa. So it's just pure love, and we appreciate it. So it's good to hear your voice, and it's good to be able to reconnect with our fans.
Same to you.
Mm-hmm.
See you soon.
All right. See you, Lauren.
Bye, bud.